Let's talk about keyframes. A keyframe in animation and filmmaking is a drawing that defines the starting and ending points of any smooth transition. Now, these drawings are called frames because their position and time is measured in frames on a strip of film. A sequence of keyframes defines which movement the viewer will see, whereas the position of the keyframes on the film, video, or animation defines the timing of the movement. Because only two or three keyframes over the span of a second do not create the illusion of movement, the remaining frames are filled with in-betweens. Now, what does all that mean in terms of 3D? So let me go ahead and just throw a cube in the scene, and I'm going to pull that over here. And so we have 0 to 90 frames right now. We've got our power slider here, our current time indicator in green here. We have all of our parameters set to take keyframes. Now, let me go ahead and turn on my grid for this. So I'm just going to animate this from out here into the center of the world here. So I want to make sure that I have my object active. I'm going to come over here, and while I'm on 0, I'm going to click Record Active Objects. And you'll notice that when I did that, a keyframe appeared right here at 0. Okay? Go ahead and put that back there. You'll also notice that we have these red dots, which represent keyframes in all of these positions. So we have it in X, Y, Z, we have it in scale, we have it in the rotation parameters. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and pull this all the way to 90, and I'm going to grab my cube on the Z axis and sort of pull it into frame where I want it. Now, you'll notice something else that's happened is that all of these red dots now have red dots with holes in the middle, and that means that there is animation here, but we're not on a keyframe at the moment. Also, you're going to want to notice that the Z is yellow, which means it's the one that has the animation on it. Now, what I'm going to do is come over here and I'm going to click the Record Active Objects button again and watch all of these because they're going to change. I click that. And now we have a keyframe here at 90. Now, if I was to move off of that keyframe, you'll notice that all of our dots change to the dots with circles, representing again that there is animation there, but we're not on top of a keyframe like we are there. So now, if we go ahead and play our animation, we can see that we have two keyframes, one at 0, one at 90, and a pretty smooth animation. Now, something else you'll want to notice on this animation is that the way that the cube is moving. So it's starting out slow, it's building up some momentum, and then it ends up slow. It sort of slows down at the end. Starts slow, speeds up, ends slow. And that's called easing in and easing out. And that's the default interpolation method for Cinema 4D animations. Now, something else I would like you to take a look at here, and that's the animation path of the cube, which is this little blue line with the dots on it. And if you notice, if we get in here, you'll see that we have a little black dots here, and then we have the big black dots. Again, the big black dots represent the keyframes, and all of these smaller dots represent the in-between frames. So 1 to 89. Okay, so what if we wanted to add a keyframe in here? Let's go up here and let's say that we got somewhere here around 40 and we wanted to add a keyframe. Well, we could go to 40 and then we could push the Record Active Object. Now we come off of that, we can see that we have a keyframe there. Now, if I go back to 40, and let's say that I just move this out like this and push that button again, then we get something very different. So it's pretty easy to go in and add keyframes after the fact. Okay, let's say that I wanted to get rid of this keyframe. So if I just go over there and select the keyframe, I can hit delete on my keyboard and that one's gone. I can also come over here to the object, select the properties like the position, go to animation and say delete track. And I can do that on the scale as well as the rotation parameters. And now I have a cube in here that has no animation on it whatsoever. Now, let me show you another way to actually create the animation besides using this button right here. I'm going to go to 0, make sure I'm on 0. I'm going to select my position parameters and hold Control or Command down on the keyboard and click. And if we look over here again, we can see that now we have a keyframe. Let's go ahead and push that up to 90. And let's pull this into frame. Again, let's make sure that we have all of our parameters selected and Command or Control click again. And now we have our second keyframe. So if we go ahead and push play, we again have our very linear ease in and ease out type animation. Okay, so that's the basics of keyframes and the power slider here in Cinema 4D.